welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a Saturday here in Melbourne. Of course, we are in lockdown at the moment, but so are our friends up in Sydney as well. Of course, we're going up to Sydney in particular, of course, speak with the Southern Power women's football team, who unfortunately have not played in about 3 or 4 weeks now since they've been in lockdown. Of course, we've got 4 very special guests joining us right now to tell us a bit about how it's been like in lockdown and also how the season went up to that point. And they join us right now. Thanks all for you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Well, I will get all 4 you to introduce yourselves and tell us what position all 4 you played on the field before lockdown.
I'll get started. My name's Keely. I am usually our halfback or fullback for Southern Power.
My name's Sarah, and I'm usually like in the forwards, but we'll change positions wherever the game sort of goes, I guess.
My name's Kiara. I normally play on board, but I haven't played a game for Power this year because I ruptured my ACL and MCL at the start of the year.
My name's Jemima, and I play in the midfield, usually like a centre role.
This one's going to Kiara first. You mentioned that you haven't played this season due to your ACL and your MCL. How's that travelling now at the moment?
Yeah, it's progressing really well. I've started my return to run program, so hopefully I'll be running in a couple weeks' time. So yeah, and the surgeon was really happy with how it's all progressing. So hopefully next year I'll be back playing.
Kiara, is this break helping you in regards to, even though you've missed a fair bit of footy?
Yeah, I think I'm still learning. Like the Swans have been really good. I did it with them. I'm doing video analysis with Nick Davis and working on like fixing parts of my game that I couldn't fix before when I didn't have the time. So there's always something to fix, although I'm not really getting the footy in my hands as much. There's definitely aspects of my game that I'm working on and fixing.
How was the season going before this current lockdown?
Good, actually. I was having a lot of fun this season, but yeah, winning a few games, like losing a few, but the overall vibe was pretty good. So it's a bit sad that it's stopped, but I'm sure it'll start back up hopefully pretty soon.
Started the season off super strong, actually. Whereas in the last couple of years, I feel like our start, we're a bit rusty, but yeah, so I was really excited for this back end of the year to kind of play teams again and show them what we've got, what we've learnt from our last game. But, life happens. Everyone's going through it at the moment. So I guess you just got to think about what Kiara said, like use the time you've got to progress and individually your faults and yeah.
I think we started off really strong as well, and we kind of got a bit done up with, we had a lot of injuries in the first couple of rounds. So I was same as Kiara. I played about 3/4 of a game this season before I did my ankle in a game. And we also had a lot of other girls as well coming in with injuries, and they sort of had rehabbed themselves back to the point where they were ready to come back. And then we went straight into lockdown. So I still haven't gone back yet to footy. So I think lockdown's obviously great for working on all that stuff, but it's also given a lot of girls that were injured a bit of extra time to rest up. They're not pushing to come back anymore, and they're actually having a bit of time and space to keep coming back with their kicking and their skills and that sort of stuff as well. But it is a shame we couldn't get back to show where we have improved and where we have fixed parts of our game that I think we're on track really well, and we were looking to have a really great finals run, but we'll just have to wait and see what AFL Sydney says and where we end up in terms of lockdown in a few weeks. So yeah.
Keely, I need to ask you this question now. You mentioned that you got injured as well and only played 3/4 so far. How's that traveling? And once hopefully everything goes back to some normality, will you be able to return for the remainder of the season if it continues?
Yeah, so I tore 2 of the ligaments in my ankle. I just went up for a mark and got bumped funny in the air and came down on it. So rehab took a lot longer than expected. They were sort of angling for 5 or 6 weeks, and it ended up being 12 to 13 before I was allowed to come back. So right before lockdown, I had a run in Div 2. They let me come back just to test out how it was going, and I had an absolute blast with the girls from the club. We played Sydney Uni, but obviously then our lockdown came in. So I was prepped and ready to come back, and I'm hoping I can get back when the games start back up. But it's tracking really well. It's still a bit stiff, but I'm back running and back doing pretty much normal activity. So it's going really well.
So tell us a couple players in your team that's had an awesome season so far. I know you don't want to miss out anyone, but is there a couple players in your team that had a great season so far and you can't include yourselves or each other?
Damn.
We had a lot of girls coming through the Giants and the Swans Academy who have come in with I think with the extra practice have come into the season really well, working together and putting in some new skills and teaching other girls what they've been working on. So we had I think Brody has been having a really great season, as well as Ruby come in sort of as a back role in the last couple of weeks before lockdown, who's been playing great. So they'd be my two that have really come in and helped out pushing the girls with the stuff they've been doing outside of training with us.
Yeah, Brody was nominated for the draft as well, which is really impressive and really well deserved. So yeah, definitely deserves some recognition for that, because that's a huge achievement. And like Ruby as well, she's been training with the Giants, and Jess as well. Like they've all been having a blinder with all the academies and everything, doing so well.
For me, Em Eves, she played all of juniors and then had a year off, and then she came back last year, and she's really impressed me this year. She's vice captain, really stepped up to the plate, and she kind of transitions from midfield to forwards, and she's got some really good marks and goals this year. So
even the way she brings the team together as well, I reckon she's a very team orientated person, and it really it affects everyone in a very positive way, which is so good.
For sure. And she's a best in tackle as well.
This academy girls have really, their skill development, I've been at Swans with Ruby and she's just improved dramatically, especially at nationals. And ME, she's always a reliable player. I don't think she gets enough credit as she actually deserves, because she's always so reliable and always playing good, but she definitely deserves it.
Now, considering that the season has come to a pause since 3 weeks ago now, 4 weeks at the moment, I guess, what have you been doing to hopefully get back into game shape by the time you get a chance to get back on the field, hopefully within the next month or so?
I know we've been doing pretty much anything and everything we can get our hands on. So our lockdown was very staggered. We didn't go straight into a full lockdown. So for sort of a week or two after they announced we'd go into a lockdown, it was a very mild version. So we were still allowed out in groups of 10. We didn't have a limit on how far we could travel for anything. So we were trying to get in a little bit of group stuff. So kicking a footy, we did a gym session with one of our sponsors, BFT. They really helped out and ran a training session for groups of 9. So that way we were still under the limit, but getting our work in. And I know a lot of the girls have been going for runs with each other or with people in their areas now especially, but it's gotten a bit harder since they did amp up our restrictions. So I haven't read today's press conference release, but as of yesterday it was you're limited to a 10k radius and exercising groups of 2 and stuff like that. So we've been getting messages come through from our coach and from some of the senior players. I know Mima sent out some resources for us, but just trying to find ways to keep your fitness up, but also working on those skills. So we've had a lot of information sort of put out to us, which is really great, but our club's pretty tight knit. And I know a lot of the girls have been messaging each other, making sure everyone's going okay, keeping accountable, with a couple of us on things like Strava, where you can see where everyone's running and that sort of stuff. So that's probably where we're at. We're all just having to do our own thing and try our best to stay accountable for where we're at in the season.
I think personally, I've tried to just really keep my cardio up because, you know, most people, that's something that is the first to go. So I've just tried to make myself a promise to keep working on that. And yeah, skills as well. I'll drag my dad out, go for a kick, or meet up with one of the girls, which I had a week off kicking, I think, and then I met up with Evesy, I think, and it was, yeah, it goes pretty quickly. So you need to just be consistent with that. But also, like mentally, lockdown can be so draining. So just keeping in touch with everyone. We've really tried to keep the group chats rolling and just, you know, keep talking about whether it's footy related or not, just stay connected. So when we do come back to footy, we'll be still tight knit. Yeah.
Considering that, obviously, I think it might be Kelly that might have mentioned it about Scrava just a moment ago. Kim track of how one's going. How's everyone going with that at the moment? And who's leading?
I don't have Strava actually.
Oh,
I really struggle to run with something, so I just sort of run.
I haven't thought that up yet.
Yeah.
I'm at the top of the leaderboard, hitting about 10K runs each day. So
Who's that?
girls, it's hard to beat.
No, we've got a couple girls on there, but it was just sort of something some people jumped on, and we were just sort of keeping in touch with other people that we normally wouldn't have chatted to. Like, yeah, it was a nice idea, but it wasn't really enforced. Whereas I remember last lockdown, our club was very, we did like daily challenges, and it was sort of coming out every day. Whereas this time, it's sort of become more of a, you guys know what you need to do, just do that.
Yeah. I think this time though, like originally they announced 2 weeks. So I was kind of like, oh yeah, we'll get back on the track in 2 weeks, and then extended. So if we go for another month or longer, we will have to start to put in some, you know, processes in place to make sure everyone's still keeping up with everything. Yeah.
tell us a bit about your amazing coaches so far.
They've been so good in like our development and stuff. Like with like girls coming through that haven't played footy before, and like especially like because I came through like the youth girls program, and Catherine Hull like had a massive she was like a massive part of all of us youth girls like staying with footy and coming through to the senior. Actually we all came through youth girls, didn't we? Yeah, so like she was a massive part of us like still loving footy and making sure we're developing our skills, but like it never getting too serious where like you would get sick of the game, if you know what I mean. Like she always made it fun, and it was never like an intimidating environment to like welcome us into the senior atmosphere.
For sure. We've got 3 teams at the moment, which started last year. We had 3 teams introduced, and we've got Adam Parker as our head coach. So he's having to tailor the training to fit all 3 teams and, you know, provide that support for players who are just starting and haven't picked up a footy, but still keeping that intensity for the girls that are going to academy and really want to push themselves. I think it's such a hard task, and he's really tried to keep everyone happy, keep everyone on the same page. Keep it fun, but intense for those that want it as well. And then Hugs, Catherine Hull, second grade, as well as Pete Stevens helping in second grade. How did you find Pete and Huggies when you played Kills for the twos a couple of weeks ago?
I think they were great. So we've got a lot of different coaches that float, and obviously it's a club sport, so people have other commitments and have to adjust. So we've got a massive group of helpers. So typically Pete Stevens and Aaron Condon, and we also have Ev Hunter and one of the girls, Amy, or we call her Moo, also helps out in the coaching staff. And then we have a couple people that come in as water runners and trainers, and they all do such a good job trying to get down to training and stuff like that. And I found, in Div 2 they were really great. They obviously have a focus in Div 2 on developing skills, but also there's still that level of competition that makes it fun and enjoyable. And all the girls in that grade were having the best time. I've never seen so many people laughing on a footy field while they're getting thrown around by other people and stuff like that. But like Mima said, our head coach Parker, he's doing such a great job. And at the start of the year, he actually sat down the whole women's program, and he got everyone to essentially write out what footy means to them, what they want to get out of this season. Are they trying to take it seriously? Are they trying to have fun? And I think obviously it helped him kind of gauge what groups he wanted to put in place. So if you wanted to push people, if you wanted people to just kind of have a bit of fun, do it for social reasons. And it also helped the girls see where other people were at and what they wanted to get out of their footy, so they could sort of align themselves with where they wanted to get as well. And I think he's done a really good job this year. He came in just at the start of the year, so he hasn't been with us for long, except last year he came in as our assistant coach, and he had a massive job on his hands. So I think credit to him and credit to our other helpers for getting up the club and keeping up the 3 teams, and everyone's looking very competitive this year. We're all in finals contention, so they're doing something right at least. But
Really just pretty much almost about for me to ask my next question. You mentioned about what your coach was mentioning about what does the sport of footy mean to the team. Now, normally I say that a little bit later on, but I'm going to advance that question and follow it up from that. Now, my question to all 4 of you is, what does the sport of football mean to all 4 of you, and especially being at Southern Power?
To me personally, it's like just I really like the vibe like that like especially like our club provides. Like it's always like everyone's wanting to push each other to do like to, you know, be the best you can be, but then like when there's an opportunity to like have a laugh, none of us stray away from that. And it's just, it's a really good vibe, and like it's just an environment that like I'm keen to be around, and makes me love the sport even more. And like the sport, you know, it's given me a lot as well, like so many friendships that I value a lot. And so obviously like I like tackling people and stuff, but I like I really like the friendships and stuff that it's given me. I really appreciate all that.
I think the sport's definitely given me a lot of goals and like aspirations to be the best I can and be the best player and play at an elite level. And with Southern Power, it's given me that as well, because there's still an avenue to obviously train really hard and achieve your goals, but it's also given me more team camaraderie and enjoyment and just have a laugh and enjoy the game, whilst also being able to push myself and make sure that I've got the best of both worlds.
I agree with that as well. I'll add that to mine.
yeah.
For me, starting off like just through school, like as a laugh, but I got quite competitive quite quickly, and had the opportunity, you know, to travel or did nationals and all that. So I have friends in different states, and I've traveled to places that I wouldn't have without footy. Just the opportunities that it's given me and what I've learned, not just with footy, but about myself. And it's crazy that I wouldn't have learned otherwise. And then obviously, Southern Power was my first club since I was 14, I think. And like everyone that I've met at the club is just so loving, and everyone cares about each other. And some of my best friends that I met through the club, and it's just a really supportive community. So yeah.
So Southern Power, I started playing footy I got really sick when I was about 15, 16, and I actually had a doctor go and tell me to find a sport where I'll get bumped around a bit to sort of fix, I have a chronic pain condition, and so he was testing out to see if it would fix it by getting bumped around enough. And I had a mate at high school who was playing, and she was like, oh, go talk to Huggies, who's Catherine Hull, one of the coaches of the youth girls program. And I went to Huggies and I was like, oh, I've been out of a wheelchair for about a month. I'm just looking to have a bit of fun. And she took me straight in, taught me how to play, and I loved it. And like Mima said, you get so competitive so quickly. And the girls were so lovely, and I was like, I don't think you could leave Southern Power. I've played all different sports and there's nothing like the club at Southern Power. It's just so welcoming and friendly. And yeah, like Maya was saying, like most of my best friends are at the club now, and you see them a couple times a week anyways, and we go out on weekends together and we see each other for movie nights, and I think we've got a Zoom trivia night tonight and all kinds of fun stuff. So yeah, footy was just sort of a way of being social while still getting that competitive sport and the development, and everything the girls said is 100% true.
Okay, well, might try and get Orphy back on the show when it comes to that trivia night to see how that one went later tonight.
I don't know if some of the questions will be able to go on this show. We'll see. Emily's making it, so we'll see what questions come out. But yeah.
Then my next question I was going to ask is, how did all four of you get involved in footy, and why did you choose it?
Mine was through it was a mix between my family friends who played and my brother. He used to ref AFL, and so umpire AFL, and then he did a girls game, and he was like, oh my gosh, you should play, like you'd enjoy it so much. But I was playing netball at the time, and then figured out that netball was on a Saturday and AFL was on a Sunday, so I ended up doing both for a little while. And it was, the first game was literally so much fun. Like I still remember my first game actually. Like it was just it was so much different to anything else I'd ever done, and so I just stuck from there, and that was mine.
I got into it from a school gala day. I was like, oh, we'll have a bit of fun, get a day off school. And then I made it to nationals, but I still didn't know how to play. So I spoke to the local club and Huggies at Southern Power, and then I just haven't left since. I've loved it.
I was like pretty much exact same as Kiara, through school, just for a day off, never played before. I'd played most other sports. But yeah, as Keely said before, like AFL, I think is just so different to any other sport. Like after every drill, you go around and, high five everyone, which my first training session, I was like, what is going on? It's just, you get around each other so much for me in comparison to other sports that I played. So yeah, same as Kiara, went through the school system, played nationals, still didn't really know the rules, was just, and then, went and trained with the women's just to try and get my skills better. And then I fell in love with it. So still here 6 years later, I think. So
yeah, my mate dragged me into youth girls. I had never really played it, and AFL wasn't that big in Sydney. I got raised on NRL, and Mum hated the idea of me going to play a contact sport because she didn't want me to, I quote, come home with a messed up nose. So she was like, I was like, oh, go try AFL, it's no contact, it's fine. That one totally slipped past her. And then she came to the first game and she was like, what's going on? Everyone's hitting each other. I think I slid that one nicely, but yeah, it was just a mate told me to go and talk to Huggy. She's like, oh, I'm having so much fun. And yeah, I went to one training session and then never left. So,
And this particularly goes to Kiara and Jemima. As both of you mentioned right at the start, both of you started the sport to, I guess, have a day off school by the sounds of it. Did you ever thought from that day that that you were going to still be playing the sport?
Originally, like, I really enjoyed it. I thought, like, I'd love to be playing it, but acrobatic gymnastics was my main focus at that point. So all my eggs were in that basket. I didn't really have time to put all my focus into another sport to become good at that sport and make that my priority. So it kind of just took the back seat until I swapped over completely and made AFL my main priority.
Yeah, that gala day that I did, I had no idea. Like, I don't even know if I'd watched it on TV yet. So for me, yeah, at the time I was playing a lot of OzTag and rugby, and that was I was doing that pretty competitively. And then from that point on, I was like, oh, AFL's all right. And then, I played more games, registered for a full season, and then I was kind of doing rugby union sevens and AFL at the same time, which was hard during my HSC trying to do both of them. But yeah, I ended up just saying, you know what, I'm just going to go all in with AFL because, yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Now, all four you mentioned right at the start what position all four you play on the field. If you had a preferred position where you like to convince your coaches to put you, and here's your chance with hopefully a month before you get back on the field, where will that be?
I actually got to play mine. I always just wanted to play in the backs. I'm really not tall at all, so it was never an option. And then, I don't know, I feel like I do like tackling and being a bit more like aggressive on the ball. So,
She's small, but she packs a punch. Let me tell you.
So, yeah, I talked to Adam, and I was like, oh, maybe you could just like give it a go. Like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And played in it for a few games, and it's been so much fun. Like, the backs are literally ideal. They're so much fun. But yeah, I do like the middle as well.
I've always played mids through youth girls, and then I had a little bit of a saga last year where I played in the backs, but I don't know, I just feel like the backs just really makes me super anxious because you're that last line of defense. But yeah, I really enjoy being in the midfield. Yeah.
yeah, so I usually am the last line of defense, so thanks for that. No, I love having a run in the mids, and I think halfback's sort of a compromise where I still get a run around, but I'm still in that sort of back line to tidy things up. But probably I love where I play. I love halfback, and the only other position I probably want to play is mids. I don't like the pressure of kicking goals, so I don't think anyone would ever catch me in the forwards, but you never know.
Yeah, I think my favourite position's definitely on ball. I think it gives me the freedom to run around everywhere. You're not restricted. I have played a couple games at halfback, and I didn't mind that as well. I wouldn't mind half forward either, but I think I like running too much and being involved wherever the ball is to be confined to one position.
What would be your advice to people that should get involved in footy, and especially there at Southern Power once you get out of lockdown?
I'd definitely say give it a go. There's an avenue for everyone who, whether you want to be drafted or whether you just want to have fun, develop your skills, increase your fitness, I'd say you've got nothing to lose. And especially with the bunch of friends I've made through footy, you've got everything to gain.
Perfectly said.
Yeah, just do it.
Just jump in and honestly, if the contact is what's stopping you, I feel like just have a go and give it a try because it's honestly the funnest part, I think.
It maybe like seems scary at first, but once you do it, it's not even bad. And it's coming from someone who's really short as well, so it's not that bad.
Everyone's very willing to help out as well. Like, even if you just send a message to any club, especially us, I know that if you contacted anyone, they'll put you in touch with whoever you need to be put in touch with to get what you want out of it.
Now, you must tell us where's your home ground for anyone that should get down to Southern Power?
Waratah.
Waratah in Sutherland. So if anyone wants to make the trip to the Shire post-lockdown, please come and say hi.
We're the only senior club in the Shire, in the Sutherland Shire. Yeah. So if you live in the Shire, you better play for us.
Good point. Now, this question I rarely ask, but I'm going to ask all four of this question. How special is to play with each other on the same team?
That's so important, I reckon. Like, it's just because like we know each other's games now. Like, we've been playing together for so long that it's just it becomes like what's the word? Like,
second nature.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Like I know what Jemima can do, and like I have full confidence in maybe like not going for that ball because I know Jemima will be able to do it, and same for everyone else in the team. So yeah, it's important and it's a good vibe. So
I think like being close with your team is massive in terms of like what you will do for them on the field, and will you put that shepherd on? Will you let them go for that ball or whatever it is? But yeah, knowing their game style, but also knowing just like being close to them is massive in terms of the success of a team.
Yeah, I agree with Mima, because it becomes not just about playing with yourself, like especially being in a situation where you've played with like an academy team when no one knows anyone for the first couple games. It's
bit selfish,
completely different to playing at Power, where you're not just playing for yourself, you're playing for your team who are like your family. So it's really special.
I think everyone's enjoying themselves, like they're with their mates even at training. So you put in more effort when you're having fun, and I think that really shows with the girls. Like, we have a joke at training, but we get the work done.
Now, let's finish off with a couple of lighthearted questions about your teammates. Firstly, who had the most embarrassing moment on the field this season, and what was it?
We have a fine system. So if someone does something stupid on or off the field, they do get fined. And that fines at the end of the year goes to our trip away with all the footy girls. So
I remember one game. I can't remember if it was Emily or I think it was Emily. Like, there was a big like scrimmage, and and then Emily and I were right near each other, and she ended up tackling me instead of the player, and it was so funny. Oh my gosh, that was definitely hilarious.
We've had a couple going the wrong way. Like, that's probably
I don't know if this is embarrassing. Well, it's not embarrassing. It's really funny. But Stewie or Taylor just made, I don't know if you are familiar with the Mad Monday Instagram page.
Yeah, anyway, yeah.
Stewie made that page because she put this like epic bump on. Anyway, so we're pretty proud of her for that. She's got some power on the Mad Monday page, which is good.
Oh, I was going to get to the final system. Keely beat me by a question, but I will get to this final system now. Now, has any of you copped a fine this season, and what was the fine for? I'm assuming Kiara didn't, because she didn't play for the season, but the other three?
Oh yeah,
No.
I'll copy you.
I've been good so far. I haven't copped any, so.
Some I don't know if I agree with, but my bank account definitely doesn't. But it's can't remember what mine. I think they've just been saying like just stupid stuff, like just things that you don't think and you just say.
I made a group for the Prems team to do like just posts for specific stuff for that game. And I forgot to update it when the teams would change. So there'd be players that would be like, wait, I didn't know we had to get there at that time. And I would be like, oh, that was I forgot to update it. But anyway, I'll remember now.
Who has copped the most fines in your team? What was the funniest one?
Maybe Brody or
I was
Evesy.
about to say, I think Brody cops a fair few. And it must have been on footy trip. She had it was best on ground, but then also a few fines for that one, I think.
She was best on ground and worst on ground all at the same time.
Yeah.
A funny fine, I think it was Montana got last year. She got her eyelashes done fresh. And it started raining at training. And she I don't know if she was wearing goggles or she had to wear her hoodie yeah, it was pretty funny.
Yeah, Kiana did the same thing this year as well, actually.
I always forgot about that. That was definitely mentioned last year.
Yeah.
Yep.
I almost forgot about that one. Now I have to ask: is doing this interview part of the fines?
Probably.
Why do you have to do it?
I feel like if we throw someone under the bus, maybe, but we've been pretty good today.
All right. Well, let's see how my next couple of questions going to go then. Which is, who's the comedian, the best singer, the best dancer on the team?
Singer, definitely Mima.
Here's Mima.
She can actually sing.
Mima can actually sing.
Oh.
Yeah, so a bit of promo for you, Mimes. Get Duke
here.
music on
Yeah,
it.
Duke,
Yeah, follow my page, Duke Music.
Kiana actually does pretty good dance before the game, dance moves. I'll give her that. Kiana, yeah. And then gets us
We've got a couple TikTok stars in the team.
Oh yeah. The girls love their TikToks.
going, and then you've got the whole team up.
We had a game that was broadcasted on KO.
Yes.
And I don't know, there was a complication and it was pushed back like an hour. Anyway, so we were on the field ready to go and we had to wait for something. I don't know if it was an umpire or something. And Kiana knew it was broadcasted, so she just starts busting moves on the field. She knew she was going to be on TV. She was a Fruit Loop. But yeah, that was fun.
Well, considering that game was on KO, hopefully I'll be able to watch it back.
Maybe don't watch that one.
Don't watch that game.
Not the best game.
Your teammates have nominated you for one of these that ends one of those questions. You might as well, promote your page right now.
Yeah, let's go, Mama.
Look, I have not warmed up, and it would be very poor of me to do so.
Go check out all the videos if you want to see her.
Yeah.
She's got all her videos up on her page. It's good.
Duke Music, JUKE Music, Instagram, Facebook. And yeah, at the moment with COVID, we can't go out to the pub and watch live music, so definitely missing that with COVID, but yeah.
Some mentioned before about TikTok famous a moment ago. Has that particular player who's TikTok famous tried to get the team involved in it?
Famous is a very strong word to start with.
Okay.
I think we've done a couple of group TikToks. I think we did one last year where you're in your warm-up gear and then everyone jumps and then you click your fingers and you're in your jersey. Does anyone remember that? Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the only TikTok I've done, but a couple of the girls love it. Game day, they're in the shed doing.
We haven't been ripped into a Southern Power TikTok yet, but never seen
Adam hates it.
Our coach hates it for the fashion.
They're banned, but we'll do it in secret.
Do either of you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
Mine used to be really bad. I used to have could only have Wheat Bix for breakfast. I remember when I'd be going on it in like the academies, and we'd have to travel, and Mum would always pack my milk, my Wheat Bix, and a banana because I couldn't eat anything else for breakfast. But it's calmed down a bit now. But yeah, it used to be really bad.
I don't have one, really.
No, as long as my ankles are strapped, I'm fine. I'm ready to go.
I usually wear it like undershirt, like a long sleeve skins, but that's kind of
You
it.
can pick heels on the field.
Yeah, I'm easy to spot. Just long black sleeves and a bun.
Brody, I think, has special pants she wears underneath something.
But yeah, I have those as well. That I haven't gotten rid of afterwards. So.
Superstition,
Yeah.
Sarah, I need to ask you this question as a follow-up, talking about Wheat Bix and everything else. So how's that going? Have you given any of that, the Wheat Bix side of things up, and what have you replaced it with?
No, I haven't really given it up, to be honest. I'm still having it. But I think one time I had to stay, like I was staying at my brother's like the night before a game, and they didn't have any Wheat Bix, and I was freaking out. I didn't know what I was going to eat, and they had no food anyway, so I think I whipped out a pancake before the game. It was not really the ideal situation, but yeah, I haven't really given up Wheat Bix. They're definitely still in the pantry.
Who has the best nickname in the team? And Ashley, what is all your nicknames, and where did it originate?
I love Moo's nickname. That's that good. I don't know where it comes from, but it's
her name's Amy Kowski. So
yes.
Yeah.
I think that's where it comes from, I assume.
Yeah. And Huggies, that's always good.
Yeah, Huggies is a good one.
Yeah. I get called little one all the time because I'm tiny. But it's either little one.
You get Hep a bit.
Pardon?
You get Hep a bit.
Yeah. I have a few. I have Hep, little Hep, little one, Sezzy. Yeah, it's good.
Same as Sarah, I have a few, depending who you ask. Biceps by one of the girls, Fluky, maybe Chucky, but that's a different story.
I was always like growing up Jemima.
Yeah.
And then through footy, I've been Mimes. And yeah, since footy, that's it.
And Gail.
Oh, Gail, yeah, that's my middle name. Everyone finds it.
Jemima Delaware as well.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but actually I forgot about those.
That's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I get Keels and that's about it. Mine's not very exciting. I'm like a couple others. Everyone's got a nickname though, pretty much, I think.
Yeah.
I reckon Dale might win the prize, to be honest. That's so good.
Taylor came down from Newcastle, so she's Stewie from Newing.
All for you. Thank you so much for giving up your time to join us. Best of luck. Hopefully you can get back on the field very soon. Obviously, the lockdown is still continuing over there. And let's hope you can get back on the field, resume the last part of the season, and hopefully in the finals. Hopefully sometime in September, October, well, depending when the season is going to continue.
And you can come and watch us when the borders open.
Correct.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Bye.
No worries. And of course, that is the Sun Power, of course, women's football team. Of course, once their season hopefully gets underway soon, of course, we'll put all the details up on how you can get down to their games there at the Waratah, especially their home venue there, and support the mighty Power in 2021. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on the Lockdown Saturday edition.